Andrew Tate is perhaps the most polarizing figure in popular culture today. He is one part armchair philosopher, one part millionaire playboy, a sprinkle of shock-jock comedian, and allegedly the criminal mastermind of a human trafficking operation. Some praise Tate as the answer to an anti-masculine world. Others abhor him as a sexist, dangerous example to young men. So, who is Andrew Tate? Is he a hero? Is he a victim? Or is he a villain? And the answer to that is it depends on who you ask. And the other answer to that is it depends on what carefully curated selections of videos you've watched. I felt the need, if I was going to talk about Tate, to watch at least a few of his long form interviews. And if you're someone who has a typically kind of conservative view of the world and you watch his like 2-hour sit down with Tucker Carlson, some of it's going to make you raise your eyebrow, but a lot of it you're going to go, I don't really see a problem with this guy, you know, and he's very convincing and he's very articulate. If you watch his sit down with Paul Bet-David and some of these guys, which I didn't, let me tell you right now, I didn't watch an 8-hour interview with anybody. Sorry. But if you watch those, and I've seen the clips from it, he's very articulate. He makes some great points. And here's part of Andrew Tate's issue. And it's that he's very, very good at diagnosing a lot of things that are wrong with our modern culture. And the people who see him as a hero, this is what they see, that he is pointing at a world that seems to be increasingly anti-masculine. And he tries to push forward this kind of bravado. And a lot of his answers aren't terrible, like get up off the couch and work harder than everyone else and have confidence in yourself and keep your body in shape and do all of these things that are kind of ancient wisdom principles that will lead you to a happy and fulfilled life. The people who see him as a villain also hear the other side of his content, which is like women should be faithful to one man, but men can have as many women as they want. So that's where you move from, you can diagnose the problem of anti-masculine culture, but the solution that you give is some version of toxic masculinity. And so they see, okay, if all he's doing is properly diagnosing those things, and he's been very successful, and so he drives Bugattis and he smokes nice cigars, then maybe he's just kind of this alpha male. But then he goes into the other side of it where he has, I don't know, thousands of hours of content on the internet, and some of it is absolutely abhorrent. And so what most people have seen is his most recent content, like where he sits down with Tucker Carlson, who, whether you like him or hate him, was like the most viewed news personality for quite some time. And you watch that, and a lot of people went, maybe I had this guy wrong. Well, Liz Wheeler, who, I'll be honest, I'm not fully sure who this is, but this video was going really crazy on Twitter. And what she did is some kind of compilation that helps point out the two sides, the hero side and the villain side, all at once. We're not going to watch all of it. And there is some really foul language in here. Now, I do have a censor button. I'm going to try my best, especially to hit the F words, right? There's a few of them. I'm probably not going to bat 1,000. So if you're listening to this in the car with your kids or whatever else, just know if I don't absolutely nail the censor button, there could be some bad language in here. This is a very helpful video to show the two sides of Andrew Tate.
Charged with? That's a really good question. I'm charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos.
They face charges, which include human trafficking, rape, and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women.
OnlyFans is the best hustle in the world.
Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No. They're accusing me of using the Loverboy method, coercing them by being nice. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You after you girl, you do the PhD test. So yeah, on corporatetape.com, I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm
clever. Clever.
Okay, that is enough to kind of get the gist. That video goes on for like 5 more minutes. You'll notice a few things in there. If you're watching, it makes a lot more sense, which, by the way, youtube.com/Clayton Tyner, subscribe, watch the video. It is helpful. what it's doing is it's juxtaposing him sitting down with Tucker Carlson, and then it's going to older clips of him where he is basically saying exactly contradictory things. So with Tucker, he's saying, man, all I did was, they're saying that I convinced some women to get on TikTok and make money. However, there's hours and hours and hours of footage of Andrew Tate in all different interviews, different forums on the internet, different YouTube clips, where he's specifically talking about how he initially made his money running a webcam business where he was basically pimping out these women. He says to Tucker Carlson, they're accusing me of using the lover boy method, which I guess is a legal term for having women fall in love with you, where they trust you. And once they trust you, then they're willing to do some things like get on a webcam and do sexual things in order to make you money. He's like, that's crazy, the lover boy method. Well, then there's just almost endless clips of him describing this. Literally, he sold this as his PhD program, his pimpin' hose degree.
Wow.
I mean, branding is just terrible. So who is Andrew Tate? And what he's somewhat saying now, what he needs to do, if he really is a new man and everything before this moment, because he is being charged with human trafficking, he is being held under house arrest in Romania and he faces serious prison time. What he needs to do is very clearly, and look, the top G's who may watch this, you probably have all the facts of why I'm wrong about this. Maybe he's already done this, right? But what he needs to do is come out and very, very clearly say, look, for about my first 10 years on the internet, I was playing a character. I was playing this character and I made this whole elaborate backstory and I was completely wrong. And all of that was very childish and foolish. Instead, he's just kind of acting like it hasn't happened. And in the couple of interviews I've watched, what he'll basically say is, look, the way that I talked on the internet when I had 100 people watching is very different than how I talk about it now that I have 50 million people watching. Man, the scriptures say so many things about our words. Proverbs says when words are many, sin is not absent. When words are many, when you just talk all the time, sin is abundant, but he who holds his tongue is wise. It says, he who guards his mouth and his tongue keeps himself from calamity. James, the brother of Jesus, said, likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. True masculine heroes, here's what I believe, will point young men to Jesus, the ultimate picture of a purposeful, powerful man. Like I said, Andrew Tate has some good diagnosis about our culture and the problems in it. And the problem, young men are killing themselves at record rates. And men in general kill themselves at like orders of magnitude more than women do. And men are depressed and they're not making any money and they're just moving back in with their parents, spending all of their time online, like looking at porn for 10 hours a day and just living these debilitating lives. So his answer, once he has accurately diagnosed this problem, is toxic in itself. I mean, you need a proper diagnosis. If you have cancer, you want to go to a doctor who finds that cancer. But the prescription for your cancer can't be like arsenic. Like, yeah, that will kill your cancer. It will also kill you. Tate talks about how he has lots of kids with lots of different women. Well, you can just look historically, psychologically, sociologically. We know that that is not how children thrive. He's not even taking care of his own children. And he'll say, they have everything they need. I give them all the money. I'm very present for them. But the actual dynamics of having different women with different kids, whatever it is, all over the world, because he's the top G, that is toxic. It's terrible. And the actual answer for masculinity is not toxic masculinity. It isn't going around and just like bragging about all of your women and how you can convince women to make money for you by pimping them out on webcams. And look, he might be making the case, I was making all of that up. But look, if you're a top G, you should have wisdom. And 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when he was making those videos, he was not a young man. Okay. He was already a fully formed adult. You have to have wisdom to be the top G. If all of that was made up and you put all of that incriminating evidence on the internet for everyone to see, you're an idiot, right? So very articulate. Very charismatic, an armchair philosopher, very good at diagnosing problems. Is he a hero? What happens is young men are so starved for someone to tell them it is okay to be a man. It's okay to be masculine. It's okay to work hard. It's okay to succeed. Get off of the internet all day. Stop watching porn all day. Be an actual man. Have confidence in yourself. Men in our world are so starved for that Andrew Tate has become a hero to them. Is he a villain? If even a fraction of the things that he has bragged about are true, then he has some very villainous qualities. And I think we should be very comfortable saying that. Is he a victim? He sees himself as a victim of the Matrix and that he's speaking truth to power. And that's why he's actually being persecuted. I don't know enough details to say all of that, but he is a victim to his former self. That is for sure. All of the foolish and unwise things that he said and published and put on the internet for public consumption, he is a victim first and foremost to Andrew Tate from 3 years ago. Hero, victim, villain. The masculine heroes, true masculine heroes, will point young men to Jesus. Jesus is the ultimate picture of a purposeful, the most powerful man who ever walked the earth. And I think what Andrew Tate does more than anything is he points to a hole in our churches, a hole that does not speak to what masculinity and for that matter, femininity actually look like. It doesn't have anything compelling for young men to come and to hold on to. It doesn't have any rites of passages. It doesn't have any significant roles. And what Christianity has done is it has taken the call to the adventure of a lifetime that Jesus actually gave, and it's turned it into just mostly feminized religious practices. And that's a problem, because what Jesus said is come and take up your cross, come and deny yourself every day, and then you can follow after me. That is a call to a radical adventure. Be willing to lose your life. Go to the ends of the earth. Go and rescue people whose lives are dangling in between eternal torment and eternal paradise. That is the call to something that awakens the masculine instinct inside of men. And it is a correct diagnosis that also has a correct prescription. Give your life away. Love others more than you love yourself. Put others ahead of yourself. Serve humbly. Be willing to work hard. Raise up a family, one wife. Raise your kids. Be there for them. More than money and the occasional trip to Dubai. Actually be there for them. It is the prescription of how to not only live a masculine life, but to live a heroic life. And as long as the churches abdicate their responsibility to call young men into actual action, the more there will be a vacuum that men like Andrew Tate can come in, point at the right diagnosis, get the adoration of young men, and then give them prescriptions that are toxic, that will only lead them down the wrong paths.